Welcome guests and honorees. My name is HectorVasquez. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning at the 15th Annual Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center Breakfast of Legends, celebrating 50 years of the Adolescent Health Center. When I was called a few months ago to speak, I was taken by surprise as I hadn't been a patient there for more than 20 years. As I reflected on its influence on my life, I realized there's so much to say about the Adolescent Health Center. As both a patient and a medical student who rotated there, the Adolescent Health Center is near and dear to my heart. I grew up on 104th Street and Park Avenue. I was a teenager in the late 80s, early 90s. On my way to school, I feel the breaking of crack vials under my sneakers. I'd walk by the line of drug addicts, waiting to score their next hit. I'd see kids my age walk by me, kids my brother's age, either turning to drugs or selling drugs. On my first day of high school, during my freshman orientation, I was told to look to my left, look to my right. One of you will not be here at graduation. As it turns out, a girl I will call Samantha, the girl to my left, dropped out sophomore year after giving birth to her first child. There were around 500 kids in my freshman class at Manhattan Center for Science and Mathematics. Only 240 graduated with me 4 years later. Born and raised in Carver Projects, where my mother still lives, sources of motivation were difficult to come by. My parents moved to New York City from Puerto Rico in the 1950s. My father was a factory worker. My mother was a home attendant with a 6th grade education. They tried to scrape together whatever they could to support us. Although I have fond memories of my childhood, it was hard at times. Life in the projects was purely about survival. Most succumbed to the pressures of living in East Harlem, had children as teens, and never went to college. I wasn't expected to graduate. The possibility of becoming a father before I was 18 also was on the list, and basically I was earmarked for failure. What was missing was a role model for success. Someone who knew the path to get there, and someone to usher me through it. With the Adolescent Health Center on 101st Street, 3 blocks from my home, my life would change. As a 14-year-old, I remember sitting in the waiting room with my girlfriend, anxiously awaiting to be seen. I had so many questions about what lied ahead for us, for me. We felt independent. We had to take responsibility for the grown-up decisions we're taking. It was initially intimidating. Going to the doctor was usually the physician talking to your parents about your development. This time, it was going to be me and the doctor alone. What would I say to them? What are they going to ask me about? I was closed up. Then comes in the provider, and a few minutes later, it was like true confessions. I wonder how that happened. They made me feel comfortable telling them everything about my life, and they knew what to do and how to help. The providers educated me about safer sex practices, the effects of drugs, making good life decisions, and challenged my mind on what my goals in life were. They helped put into perspective all the things I was seeing around me. I learned self-care, self-determination, and self-respect. From an early age, I was always fascinated with medicine and had a direct passion for becoming a doctor. As a 5-year-old, I remember walking by Mount Sinai and saying, that's where I want to go to medical school. I don't even know how that came about. The only problem was, as a child, I never knew the obstacles that I would have to face in the process of becoming a doctor. It took an entire team to make this passion a reality. With the help of what I learned at the Adolescent Health Center, I was admitted early decision to one of the top liberal arts colleges in the United States, Amherst College, Sharon Hill, woo! Over the summers during college, I interned at Mount Sinai and continued to be a patient at the Adolescent Health Center. What I realized that was most important in my self-actualization was that part of succeeding and believing in yourself is to see people like you being a doctor. I saw this at the Adolescent Health Center. During senior year of college, on a very cold winter day, after my shift as a dishwasher at the school's food hall, where I did my work-study job, I walked to the campus center to check my mail. As I crushed through the ice, I got to the mailbox, and I see a very thin envelope from Mount Sinai. I walked into my dorm room. I walked in with this envelope in my hand. It was like a strange creature I didn't know what to do with. I was nervous. I was going to explode with anticipation. So I decided to call my mom before I opened the envelope. I opened it, and I got in. I got into Mount Sinai School of Medicine. My mom and I cried so hard on the phone together. As a fourth-year medical student rotating at the Adolescent Health Center, I realized just how revolutionary the center was. I saw firsthand how they provided a safety net for the adolescents in the community. As a teenage patient, as self-involved as most teens are, I only saw how it affected my life. But spending a month there as a medical student, I saw how it affected the lives of many, and it inspired me to do the same. The Adolescent Health Center taught me resilience, compassion, dedication. The providers were always there for the kids to talk them through their problems. I initially went into pediatric residency wanting to become an adolescent medicine specialist, but I found my passion in the pediatric emergency department. After completing both my fellowship in pediatric emergency medicine and my master's in biostatistics at Columbia, I began working in the underserved communities of Sunset Park and Borough Park, Brooklyn at Maimonides Medical Center. There, I treat my patients with the dedication and compassion I was lucky to learn from the Adolescent Health Center. I want to give back to society what the Adolescent Health Center gave me: hope, direction, and a sense of the bigger picture. Oddly, like most children growing up, we never truly understand the resources that were given to us and how to take the most and use of it. The Adolescent Health Center molded my life both as a patient and a doctor. In my teens, I never truly understood how valuable this center was and how it shaped my thought process, challenged me on what to expect for myself, and gave me direction. As a physician, I reflect on how the Adolescent Health Center helped shape my career and understand my purpose as a doctor. The Adolescent Health Center has so many amazing role models that change the lives of so many. Dr. Diaz, Dr. Butts, Dr. Diaz, Dr. Butts, and the entire staff, you are the people that changes the lives for the better, and I'm proud to be one of them. I told my mother I would be speaking to you guys today, and while we were drinking café con leche, she says to me, make sure you share with them how thankful we are for changing our lives. So, presenting awards to each of the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center's legends is a true honor, and this presentation is particularly special. Dr. Butts is not only a passionate advocate and leader for racial, ethnic, and gender diversity, equity, and inclusion, but he is an educator, a mentor, and most importantly, a physician leader. In addition to his many leadership roles at Sinai, he has and continues to hold leadership positions with the Association of American Medical Colleges, the National Medical Association, the National Medical Fellowships and Associate Medical Schools of New York, among others, for which he has been recognized with over 40 Achievement and Service Awards, including a number of Lifetime Achievement Awards. In 2015, he won the Mount Sinai Jacoby Medallion. Dr. Butts also served 5 years as Deputy Commissioner for the New York City Department of Health, overseeing maternal and child health policy programs and services for the largest local health department in the United States. Most importantly, however, is the personal reward he gets from the privilege to serve, mentor, and support our youth, medical students, trainees, and faculty in the school and our surrounding communities. In the past, Dr. Gary Butts provided services at the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center for almost 2 decades, and he was beloved by his patients, staff, and those who interacted with him. But as with all our wonderful honorees, while you may have read his extraordinary bio in your program, we have found out a few lesser-known facts about him. Back in 1968, the Adolescent Health Center was founded. Mickey Mantle retired, and the Bronx Bombers really bombed, ending a season with a .214 batting average. Dr. Butts is no fair-weather fan, and his beloved Yankees have gone on to win a number of championships since then, falling just short this year. He also loves good food and is an exceptional cook. Dr. Butts knows from his experiences working with youth in and around East Harlem for more than 30 years how a healthy start for young people isn't a luxury to building a strong community, it is vital. This is why, through his unwavering support of the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center, we are honored to present this award to Dr. Gary Butts, the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer of the Mount Sinai Health System, Dean for Diversity Programs, Policy, and Community Affairs for the Icahn School of Medicine at Sinai, and we call him a legend.